Well, okay, yesterday we published the video and then I didn't have the rights to publish that because we had music for some famous artist while we were trying to learn English and practice some of that. We, the video was taken out because of that. Nolan, would you be so nice and bring me a bottle of water? Now, for whoever was connected yesterday, I told you my son had like a throat infection. It's called strep B. I think I'm getting it. So we will see if I can go far with my voice. And is I have been talking in the morning and I didn't expect to be this bad, but we shall see. But anyhow, I wanted to talk today about different reasons why sometimes we learn English and then we watch a movie or we talk to a native speaker and we say like, gosh, I do not understand English and I have studied so much, but then I do not understand what they are saying. Hi Andres, how are you? What level are you, Andres? Let me know. Comment below and let me know, are you a beginner, intermediate, advanced? Let me know. But anyhow, so sometimes or many times, and it happened to me too when I came to the US, my English was already advanced and then I started to talk to people and many times I just did not understand what they were saying. Why? Because many times they are using expressions, they are using idioms, and they are using phrasal verbs that I did not study any of that when I was studying English on my own. Now, if you are going to learn expressions, is something that you have to practice every single day. If you don't practice them or if you don't listen to those expressions, then it is really hard for them to stick in your brain, okay? So we're gonna review some of those expressions and just go from there. Like, what does that mean and what not? So we will see. Again, my voice is not working at its best, so we shall see how far I can get. But Andres, what level are you? Let me know. Okay. Hello, Jessica. How are you? So we're gonna be practicing about expressions, idioms, and phrasal verbs. So for example, if I'm gonna tell what happens if I say, do you sniff after you? What happens if I say break a leg? What does this mean? Oh goodness, break a leg. I don't. Let me see if I can switch this. Oh, let me see. If not, if I cannot switch this, then I probably will have to use my computer here. Let me see here. Okay. So we go to plan B because I don't know how to switch my screen and to make the other side. Hello, good job, Hulk. Okay, let me move on over here. Nolan, would you mind? Let me move over here because I could not change it. But bro, don't ask that question. Yes, correct. Okay, here we go. Break a leg. That's how it's written. What does that mean? Somebody was already saying that on the comments. And what that means is good luck. When we are, especially when somebody is going on the stage, either because they are gonna sing or because they have a presentation or because they are just doing something that everybody's gonna see them. So we will tell them, yes, Jose, very good. We're gonna tell them, hey, break a leg. But whenever we translate that to literal meaning, what does that mean? Break, that means like literally I'm gonna break something. And then leg is like break your leg. But whenever, if you're not familiar with that expression, you just start scratching your head like, what? What is he saying? Like, break a leg? What does that even mean? So it is important to pay attention. Many times, those words together are not gonna mean the literal meaning, but it's gonna have some hidden message over there. So pay attention to those expressions. So that was one. Break a leg means good luck. Good luck. My goodness, if I can talk. Now let's look at another one. This one, in a short video, we have this one before, but pay attention. So how about hit the sack? What does that expression means? Comment below, let me know. Hit the sack. Do you know what that means? Pretty good, Hawk. Very good. So hit the sack means go to bed. Now, if we pay attention to the literal meaning, it's just like hard to get around it. Like, what do you mean with hit the sack? It's like, I'm not boxing. I'm not practicing to grow my muscles. So why am I gonna hit the sack? That does not make any sense. But again, those are expressions that is the everyday expressions that people are gonna say. If I'm ready to go to bed because I'm so tired, I will be like, hey, I'm just ready to hit the sack. I'm tired. And then anybody who speaks English will understand what I'm saying. And it's something that you will hear a lot. Are you teaching things to non-American people? Yes, yes, to non-American. Are you American? If you're American, you probably know all of these expressions and you can help us out. But yes, I'm teaching to non-English speakers. So that's what it means. Oh, you're from Massachusetts. Listen, so he speaks English and he knows what we're talking about. No wonder why he was so quick to reply. But yes, you are very welcome to stay because you can correct us and tell us, hey, no, that's not how we do it. But many times, we try to do and to speak and to use the expressions that you all use. But anyhow, so that was hit the sack, going to bed, as Hulk, who is an American, was telling us that's the situation, go to bed. Now, what happens if I say this one? What happens if I say, your guess is as good as mine? What does that even mean? If I say, your guess is as good as mine, what do you think I'm trying to say when I use that one? Exactly. Oh, you are doing really good. Yes. So when I say your guess is as good as mine, is because I really don't know what you're talking about. So it means you both aren't too sure. Yes, exactly. Like somebody could come and tell me, hey, do you know why they are fighting about? And if I have no idea, instead of saying, I don't know, I will just say, your guess is as good as mine. I don't know. That's their deal, not my deal. So again, if you can just take notes of those, take a note from those expressions and start practicing. Why? Because you hear these expressions whenever you are talking to people, the everyday American, when they are talking. In America, we have different terms in different parts of the country. That is so right. In the accents that they have in America, like if you go to the South, they have a certain accent. If you go to the North, they have another kind of accent. For example, if you go I don't know, they sometimes they don't even end the words. For example, somebody could say right now, but then they're gonna say in certain parts of the country right now, right now. It's like, what? That's not even, why? That's not what they teach us in school. And again, when I'm saying right now, but literally, I'm just not pronouncing the and part of the word, and I'm just making it very nasal sound. That's really what I'm trying to say. But you have to get used to those different accents and different terms that they use depending on where you are going to. But America, the United States, is a huge country. So yeah, it will be really hard for one person to know it all. And even when I am a nurse, that's my profession. And when I have had, or we have had nurses coming from another states, and then certain things that are said in here, they are like, what do you mean? Oh, we don't say that. We don't use that term. Let's see. In Massachusetts, we use the word weeked, such as there's a weak storm coming. It means there is, oh, you see that? So Hawk is telling us whenever the bad storm is coming, then they use the term weak storm. Okay, that is interesting. I will talk to you romantically in Spanish. Weak. Okay. I know. Listen, those endings of ed are like a headache, Okay, listen, my husband, he talks to me romantically in English. Let's put it that way. Okay, let's go with another expression here. If I say, let me try to pull it up right here. You are from Iran. Well, welcome here. We are trying to learn Rodrigo. Listen, Rodrigo we did a live session yesterday and we spent there like an hour. We were practicing some English with some website, but because I don't have the rights to play Bruno Mars songs or Robbie Williams songs, then YouTube took that down that video, so sorry. But anyhow, Rodrigo, so here, what does this expression means? To pull someone's leg. What happens when I'm saying, what I'm trying to say, really, when I say to pull someone's leg? You don't know. Well, there are more people in here that is connected. Very good. Listen, Hawk, I mean, you, of course, you're gonna know this. And Hawk is really helping us with expressions and things that are said in the US. But yes, that's what it means to joke. But pay attention, when I say to pull someone's leg, literally it means that I'm gonna pull somebody's leg away. I mean, like hard kind of a thing. But that's not what they mean when they are using this expression. They mean like to joke around, to tease somebody. And for example, the other day when I was working, again, I'm a nurse, this person came by. I don't know what he was doing, but he was like, hey, I need to get a mouse out of your office. And I'm like, what? I didn't know we had any mice in here. And then he was like, I could read his expression and I'm like, oh, you're pulling my leg. You are pulling my leg. It's like, oh, okay, so you are joking. You are teasing me. You are just trying to be funny, which it was not funny because I don't want to have a mouse in my office. In Spain means that someone prevents someone else from doing something. Poner la pierna. Oh, if we were to translate that literally, because whenever it says to pull someone's leg, it literally means like I'm gonna pull that leg away from your body, kind of a thing. Um, yes, it's an expression, and that's why I was saying at the very beginning it's very important to get familiar with those expressions, with those idioms, with those phrasal verbs, because whenever you come to the United States or you go to the UK, my friend Isabella is back. I have not seen one comment of you for a long time, Isabella. I was missing you. But I know. But Isabella, if I remember correctly, she lives in the UK, and that, they use other expressions over there that Americans might not use. So you have to get, yeah, you have to get very familiar with expressions. And like Hulk was telling us, I'm not sure if he's still around, but he was telling us at the beginning of the video, their expressions are gonna change depending on which state you live. Like here in the United States, if you go to the north, they might have some expressions that the southern people do not use. Or if you go east, west, there are expressions that they might not use. And I love English from England. Rodrigo is saying that he studied English from England, and it. Whenever you, I mean, I imagine Rodrigo is from Spain, if I remember also correctly, but he's from Spain, Europe. What's closest to you, like the UK. So it makes sense, but I feel like many times whenever you are pronouncing words, the English from England is a lot easier to pronounce. Certain words I have to use like certain 2 hours. Okay, it's 2 hours from Madrid to London. Like it's just like around the corner. But anyhow, like sometimes I have to pronounce certain words with the English accent. Why? Because I just could not get it together in the American English, which is a little different. So, for example, like I literally can't not say that word when it's contracted. If you can spell it out, I have to say can't. I have to say can't. Can't. That it sounds a little bit more like the English way and not the American way. I can't. But anyhow, so we continue with those. It's like Colombian Spanish or Argentinian Spanish or Spanish from Spain. Correct. And it is so funny. I think the other day my boss was telling me that I could maybe go to another school. I work at the schools. And then she was like, there are a lot of Hispanics over there, and you speak Spanish, and there are a lot of different cultures over there. But anyhow, she said Hispanics, and I'm like, well, but yes, I speak Spanish, but whenever I go to speak to a Mexican person, I'm not gonna know all the things that they say. Why? Because they have different words for different things. That does not mean that I'm not able to communicate. Of course, I'm going to be able to communicate with them. But don't put all of us on the same pot, because we are not the same. And it's within a country. If we go to Colombia and then we have people from Bogota or from the coast, we're still not the same. Or even in the same family, we have so many differences. So do not put everybody on the same pot, because we're not the same. We might speak Spanish, but that probably is the only thing in common that we have. Anyhow, okay, American, it's very difficult. Yes, I have to agree with you. But when I have heard Americans enunciating or their pronunciation is like spot on, like, oh my goodness, I wish everybody could speak like that. It's beautiful. Like you can understand them all day long, because not only they are not rushing when they are speaking, but also they are just pronouncing everything so beautifully. Oh, we can communicate without problems, but then in each country there are different words and expressions. Yes, Fornax, welcome back. All right, so let's see, for example, a phrasal verb. If I say bump into, what does that even mean? Let me show it to you right here. I was trying to use the word, but didn't know how to turn my camera, so I couldn't. So bump into, what does that mean? Comment below, let me know, what do you understand when you hear or read these words together? Bump into, I bump into. Anything that you can think of that you are like, oh yes, I know what that means. I know what she's trying to say. Bump into. Okay, Rodrigo does not know. How about Isabella or Fornax? Fornax, where did he say he is from? India. Unexpected encounter. Very good. So, yes, bump into, that means that if I went to the store and then I unexpectedly saw somebody that I do not know or I have not seen for a while, that's better. I know the person, but I have not seen that person for a while. Then I'm just walking and all of a sudden I see her and I'm like, oh my goodness, then later I'm gonna be telling the story to somebody and I will say, hey, you know what? When I went to the store, I bumped into Rodrigo, Fornax, Isabella, and that's it. Like I literally had that unexpected encounter with that person. But that's what it means. And that's called a phrasal verb because those two words are together. And then when they are together, they have like a different meaning, you know? So bump into means that you saw somebody unexpectedly, somebody that you already knew, and then you just literally were like, wow, hello, how are you? You meet somebody that you have not seen for a while. Yes, whenever I go to the UK, Isabella, I will see you. Okay, and that happened, well, this will be different, but I went to Colombia like, I don't know, June maybe, and my husband, my son, and I were just walking, and somebody did recognize me from social media, and she was like, oh, hi, are you the one that is teaching English? And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so, how would you even recognize? I don't look like this. I don't put a lot of makeup on when I'm out there, out and about. Like, no. And she was just the sweetest person ever. But hello, Lone Wolf, Baja Mexico. Lone Wolf, really, he helped us, or he comments a lot. So I'm sure your English is really good too, because when I see you commenting, you are doing a really great job, Lone Wolf. I remember you. It is chévere. Yes, it is. All right, so what happens with this phrasal verb? Whenever you hear wake up, what does that mean? Wake up. Can you try to use English words to describe what you are? Do you like perfumes? Yeah, you know, I don't use it on the day-to-day. Again, I'm a nurse, and the last thing I want to give somebody who is already throwing up is another smell for them to have. Yes. Well, wake up, pay attention. Rodrigo said in there is levantarse, like stand up kind of a thing. But pay attention to this one, because wake up is literally opening my eyes or just being aware that I'm awake. So if I'm in bed, I went to bed, I hit the sack, and then the next day, very good. It's just despertar. No, not yet. You don't stand up from your bed. I mean, literally, I am sleeping. I hit the sack, and the next day, I'm like, oh, another day. I have to go to work. I'm still in bed, but my eyes are open and I'm just awake. Like, okay, what am I gonna do today? That's wake up. I open my eyes and I'm aware that something is happening. So that is important to know. Yes, despertarse. But and that's one that we confuse with get up. Oh, okay, so get up. You said that one here. Oops, let's see. So get up, what does that mean? Get up. What does get up means? Yes, literally. Now, keep in mind, get up is literally levantarse, to stand up, exactly. Like, so I woke up, my eyes are open, and then I'm like, okay, I'm ready for the day. So then I get up. So first I wake up, second I get up. Yes, and that means levantarse in Spanish. And it is important to know the difference between those two. Again, it happened to me when I was learning English that I was always confused with those two. Sometimes it doesn't even make a difference. I wake up early every day. That's the example that Jose is giving us. But one thing is that he wakes up. And at what time does he get up? How long does it take you to get up? You see, I can stay awake in my bed for, I don't know, 30 minutes maybe because I'm lazy. But it takes me time to get up. How long does it take you to get up? How long? After you woke up. And again, with these phrasal verbs, it is important to pay attention to whenever they change. If we're talking in the present tense, then we are gonna say wake up. But if I'm talking and if I'm telling the story to somebody, then I'm gonna tell them I woke up at 7 a.m. if that's what I'm trying to say. So I'm gonna write it down in here. Okay, so wake up right here. This is what we use for the present tense, and this word is the one that we are changing. Wake up is the same. That does not change. That does not has the past tense, if you want to say it. But then this is to say the present. I wake up. Like Jose here, he said, I wake up early every day. That's a general statement that he is telling us. But then if you want to be a little bit more specific, you are going to say and use the word in the past tense. I woke up at 8 a.m. Yes, and that is another thing that Rodrigo is asking, irregular verb, pretty much. What's the difference between the regular and the irregular verbs? Huh? Can you tell me? So we have a irregular verb, for example here, break, romper in Spanish. So what is the past tense of this guy? Yeah, woke up early. Perfect, Isabella. So what is the past tense of break? Yes, Rodrigo, that's right. But now, very good. The past tense is gonna be broke. There you go, Lone Wolf. So broke is the past tense, and what is the past participle of this verb? Because we have break, romper, broke, rompió, and how about broken, roto, broken. So it is important to know, very good, Jose. it is important to know how these irregular verbs work. They don't have a pattern usually. What can we get from here? Yeah, the three forms start with the B and an R, but then it changed, and that's when it's not fun. They all have a K, but you see, it does not have an easy pattern to follow. So it is important for you to remember. Now, when I was learning English, I'm still learning English, let me tell you that much, because I learn every day. There is something new that I'm learning, either with pronunciation or a word that I have never heard before. But I think whenever you learn another language, you never stop learning. You really never stop learning. But anyhow, when I was literally not able to speak English, I just focused on one tense kind of a thing. So I learned many verbs, irregular verbs, and I used to just say, use the word, the present of it or the base of it all the time. I was like, oh yes, break I break a leg, or I break a pot, and it was past tense, but I was using it like, hey, but it was yesterday. And I was like, oh, you meant broke. Yes, that's what I meant. But that's how I did it at the very beginning. I was just learning all of those verbs with the base form. How many years have you been studying English when you moved to the US? So let me back off a little bit to answer your question. When I was going to middle school, I had a teacher, English teacher, that he was flirting at me. You know, he was being like, he was an older guy, probably my age, and I was what, 15. And he was like, oh hey, he was hitting on me. That's a word. And then I was like, what's wrong with you, man? Like, what's your problem? And then he did not like my attitude. Of course, I was rude, but not really, because it was not his place to be hitting on me. And then he started to be mean, and he was trying to make me fail that test and every single test that it was out there. And I was not silly, thank goodness. I had a brain. And then I started to study, and I was like, he's not gonna make me fail. And he was rough with me when it came to give me a good note. And my friends, that they probably were doing a little worse than I was, they were getting good notes, and I was like getting like maybe B's or C's, and I'm like, why? I did everything pretty good. But anyhow, then I, thank goodness, finished high school and didn't have to see that guy again. But then I had my motivation. And what was that? That I will never again will suffer under somebody's power like that. And I had a motivation, and I told myself, I'm gonna learn English. So after I graduated high school, I will say it probably took me like 2.5 years for me to feel very comfortable to speak broken English. And then I got a job, DirecTV, where they were selling TV and internet and all of that. Not TVs, but you know what I mean. But anyhow, over there, I was the only sales person who spoke English. And then every person that was calling from any foreigner that was calling to get the service, they were being transferred to me. And then I had the motivation to learn English, but then I was like, well, it is a good thing to know another language, because I have a huge advantage over all of these people. And then I started to practice my English a lot more. So I will say 2.5 years for me to feel comfortable. Then the practice came in, because again, these people were calling in, and I was just there trying to communicate with them. And then I moved to the US, and then I went to nursing school, and I think that's when my English got a lot better. I can understand pretty good your talk fluency. Oh, good, good. And that's something that we were talking to Rodrigo yesterday and to Fornax, that I have an accent, Spanish accent, and it gets easier for people to understand when I'm talking. But what is another thing that I pay attention to when I'm speaking in English? That I slow down. And that's something that I have noticed so much with especially Spanish speakers when they are learning English, that whenever they start speaking English, they try to rush it like we do it in Spanish. In Spanish, we talk fast. Now, if we talk about Rodrigo, yo me imagino que él está hablando así súper rápido y nadie le va a estar entendiendo, a menos que esté hablando el idioma. We speak fast Spanish. But Rodrigo is an example. But then whenever we go to speak English, we try to do the same, and that's not how it works. Why? Because our brain is trying to learn already has one language in place, and then we are learning the other language, and you should be thinking in English. Let me know in there. Let me know in the comments. Whenever you are speaking English, do you think in English or are you translating their Spanish to English? Let me see it. No, I know you don't. Okay, so which language are you using? So you are translating, that's a hard process. How about you, Isabella, Lone Wolf? Are you guys translating whenever you are trying to speak English? That is usually not a good thing to be doing, because if you already have some vocabulary, which I know Rodrigo has, Isabella has, Lone Wolf has, you guys already have the base. You already have the vocabulary over there. So whenever you're speaking, then you should be thinking in English. And if your vocab is very limited, then go with it. Go with it, but don't start translating. Try to do your best whenever you are speaking English. Think in English. And I think something that is very helpful is whenever you are writing stuff, that start writing, but think in English. That way nobody's rushing you. And slow down. Don't rush it whenever you are speaking, because whenever we are speaking, we need for people to understand what we're saying, not to rush it. And I understand we get so nervous and we are like, oh my gosh, I want to get out of this situation so fast, but we want people to understand what we are saying. Rodrigo, you stop translating in your head when you have a premium. No, Rodrigo. I'm learning French, and when I try to say phrases and whatnot, French is what my vocab in French is what it comes to mind, because I'm gonna use what I have. It's very hard that you start like thinking Spanish, but then you're not gonna have the words. You're not gonna have that vocabulary, so it's gonna be a little bit harder. Fornax, do you think in English when you are speaking English, or do you think in another language and then speak English? Isabela, no es posible translation, no es correcto. Okay, mírame a mí tratando de... No es posible traducir en mi mente, no es correcto porque no es igual. It is harder. You are making your brain work harder, that's for sure. I'm not trying to translate in English. Well, that's really good. Learn. Oh, it comes in a natural way. Okay. All right, so we were going and we were talking Bengali. Okay, so your mother tongue is Bengali. Do you think in Bengali? I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. And then you translate that to English when you are speaking, or not? Sometimes he thinks in English. Okay. Anyhow, so we were talking about the irregular verbs before we went to all of these other words on English. But I think a good recommendation I can give you is just try to think in English. But even though perfect English, but I don't know, when we have a lot of people in here in the United States from India, you still can hear their accent, and I can have my eyes closed, and if I hear somebody speaking, I'm like, ooh, you're from India, because it is a very specific accent that they have. Mm-hmm. Violin, wolf. Okay, so we continue here. So we had the irregular verbs, and we have break, broke, broken. What's another one that we could say or we could use as an irregular verb? Which other one can you think about? Huh? Can you think about another verb that we can write in here? I'm trying to, oh, how about this one? Speak. Hablar. What is the past tense of this one? Can you think about, or can you tell me? Very good. So the past tense of this guy is spoke. How about the past participle? I don't even think I'm saying it right. Very good. Spoken. So again, we might have a pattern here that we might see like, oh, okay. We have two of them looking kind of the same. Very good, Jose. But is it gonna work every time? Very good, Isabella. Do you think it is gonna keep on looking this way like every time? Give me another irregular verb. Please help me out in here. So let's try to see if we're gonna see a pattern or we're not. And again, when I was learning English, I was just learning the base of the verb. Begin. What is the past tense? Oh goodness, here if I can see my keyboard. Begin, and then began. Exactly, Fornax. You read my mind. Began, and then what is the last one? Very good. Do we see, oh goodness, do we see a pattern in here? Like, oh, okay, these two kind of look similar, but then we have another irregular verb and it does not look anything like that. So that's where it comes, that's why they are called irregular, because they just don't have a pattern. Now, how about the example that Fornax is giving us? Caught is the present. How about the past? Caught. And how about the past participle? Then it's gonna be caught. Isn't that fun? Oh Lord. That's why they are called irregular verbs, because they do not follow a pattern. And what's gonna help us to learn those verbs is just gonna be memory. The more you practice, the more you use them, the more you are going to be able to use them. But it takes time. It's not that simple. And I like to give this example. If the brain is a muscle at the end of the day, and if we train, then yes, thank you, Jose. And if we train every single day, then we are gonna make it stronger. That baby's gonna get stronger. But I like to give the example, like if you wanna have a flat abdomen, you will have to do abs every single day, right? Or however the experts recommend. But the fact is that you have to practice a lot. I will say every day. But then, and eventually you're gonna be like, okay, my abs look really good, or my muscles in here look very good. But if you don't do it every day, then the muscle memory goes away. And it's the same with our brain, with the English learning process. If we don't practice every single day, then the muscle in here is not getting stronger. It's not. And if one day you're just like, oh, you know what, I'm just like tired, I cannot remember anything, this is not my thing, then of course you are gonna stop studying for a little bit. But then what happens to these memory. What happens to this muscle? It's just getting weaker. And it's the same that with your abdomen. If you are not doing exercising every day, then what happened to that muscle? It just becomes very weak and wiggly. Um, yes. So that's why it is important to practice every single day. The more you practice, the better. And I was telling them yesterday, when I go to Colombia, I stay there for 3 weeks or so, and I have to speak Spanish all the time. And then I come back to the US, and it's just like the cables are crossing in here because I forget many words, and I'm like, ooh, yeah, So if you don't practice, it goes away. Now, I don't think I will, even if I were to stay a year in Colombia, I don't think I will completely forget about English, no. But the fluency, it might slows down a little bit. Okay, so those are back to these. Okay, so those are the irregular verbs. But now, if we look, give me one example with a regular verb. People should practice math every day. Everybody should solve the problem to make the mind sharp. Yes, it is so true. I mean, math, if there is a subject that we need to pay attention at school, is math. I completely agree with that. But anyhow, for example, if I say listen, listen is a regular verb, right? What is the past tense of listen? You are very welcome, Jose. So what is the past tense? Very good. Listened. Listened. Okay. And what is the past participle of this one? Can we think about? Listened. Okay. So there you go. Do we see a pattern over here? Oh, yes, we do. And what is that pattern? Yes, for next. Well, that will be the. Oh, I don't think I have said listening. The gerund. I don't know how to say that. Okay, that will be the el gerundio, listening. But again, we have the base of that word. Listen, listen. Yes, it is. Yes, Rodrigo. And then listen, and then listen. The only thing we're doing here is just to add ed at the end. Yes, and whenever we use this guy with the ing at the end, usually we are gonna do it when we are doing something right at this moment. Very good, Fornax. Like Fornax is telling us, we're gonna use this whenever we are talking about the present, present continuous. Which one is that one? I love the example that Fornax is telling us. Yes, I am listening. But I love to talk, and I have said this in so many of my classes. It is important to have the to be verb as a helper. Listening. Which one? So if you have ing in here and you said that's what you have right here. Oh, that's not what I wanted it to do. Here, ing. So I know that I need to have a helper right here to connect the noun and this verb. And I call this guy a helper or an auxiliary here. And this helper is the to be verb, which yes, good job. And so we need to have him here to be able to connect these two. And that's exactly what Fornax is telling us, that we call it, present continuous. Why? Because it's happening, it's happening right now. But it is important to know which part of the to be verb, I'm going to use this auxiliary. I cannot even say that one. So it is important to pay attention to this guy and the end of this guy. So if I, for example, the class is over. Yes, exactly. So the class is over and you're telling a friend, oh, I was, yes, I was listening. And here again, we are using the to be verb. Look at that. That is called the past continuous. Again, who are we using over here? The to be verb as a noun, as a helper, and then we have the noun, and then we have the rest of in the verb. This is the main verb. We need to pay attention to this guy. This is the one that is doing the action. What were you doing? You were listening. You were using your ears. That's what is important in this sentence because this is the action. And if you were gonna say instead of saying I, if we say they, how will we make it sound? They listening. If we want to write this as the present continuous, past continuous, like for next is telling us, the past continuous will be were. How about the present continuous? How will you write this as the present continuous? Oh, listening. Yes, they are listening. You see, this kind of has a pattern, and that's what I try to pay attention to. The present continuous, past continuous right here, and then the present continuous. This is, why do we call it continuous? Because it was happening continuously. So, are you listening right now? Are you listening to what I'm telling you? Yes. So you are listening. It's something that is happening right now. But then this was over. And then we have to talk about the past, but it was something that was continuously happening. And then it came to a stop because something happened. And what was that? That the teacher said, bye-bye, I have to go, I have to eat, and then she's gone. So that's why we call past continuous, because we were doing something for a period of time and then it came to a stop. Something happened for that to stop. So I was listening, but now I'm listening. You see, present versus past. Contraction part of it. So what I see here is that you could write it as doesn't, doesn't, or you can write these as aren't, aren't, But what happens usually when I am speaking English, again, I have an accent, I cannot even say things properly. As you see, I couldn't even say auxiliary. I hate that word. Or say like the present simple, that I was saying simple present, present simple. I don't know, it's kind of something. But anyhow, as you can see, like I can struggle too, and it's completely normal. But I want you to pay attention to those contractions. Why? Because we have an accent, we are learning English as an adult, and sometimes when we start using those contractions, we cannot pronounce them very well, and then we add in a lot of speed to our words, and then that's where people do not understand what we're saying. So if you are in your process of maybe beginner or intermediate, I always recommend not to use the contractions when you are speaking. So if you are going to say, I do not understand, just say, I do not understand. And slow down, don't rush it. And if you are, I don't know, advanced, then yeah, start saying, I don't know, I don't know. However you want to say it, but you know, try to slow down when you are speaking. That way, whoever is paying attention or trying to listen to what we are trying to say will be able to understand us a little bit better. All right, questions. I'm about to go. Do you guys have any questions besides me saying present simple or simple present? Any questions that you guys have? I usually teach this in Spanish. It's funny that I did it in English, and yeah, there are words that I just never used in my day-to-day life. Okay, you are very welcome. You can write it with contractions, it's fine. You need to learn those, especially if you were gonna go to school or if you were taking a test. It's very important, but I'm just saying more whenever we are speaking. Thank you, teacher, for teaching English. Okay, have a good day. All right, guys, thank you for staying with me for, what is that? Oh my goodness, an hour. I talk too much. All right, guys, well, you take care. I hope that I helped you in a way. And nice to see you again, Isabella. And Fornax and Rodrigo and Jose, you guys take care, and we will try to do another video next weekend, because guess what? I work and I have to pay attention to my work during the week. Okay, you guys, bye bye.